So the reason we're here, we finally have a show to give a shit about again. Loki.
And it's excellent.
Yes.
So far, anyway.
Yeah. The first episode. So I just want to
one of my favorite characters, though. So like, it's kind of hard to.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to fuck it up. I mean, I guess they could have fucked it up, but
yeah. It was pretty obvious in the show. But one thing to keep in mind that it is the Loki at that time frame, and it's not the Loki that experienced all of the other crap, like for the following 8 years or whatever, and then died.
I do feel like they made that at least obvious enough to the casual viewer.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, I could see someone like not paying strict attention to the first 10 minutes, wouldn't understand what they were seeing.
Yeah, but then they also kind of rehash it in those video clip things that they show him where he's being introduced to stuff that we've already seen.
Yeah, where it's just a different timeline that he's living his life. Yeah, so I mean, to be fair though, that's not going to affect him the same way as living those events.
Right.
But at least seeing them play out
catches him up, kind of.
It catches him up, but it also in turn turns him into an entirely new character. Right. So you've got those events happening to the one Loki that, died in Endgame.
Sacred Loki.
Right. But now you're going to have a character that we knew in 2012 that has slowly evolved. He's not going to be that character anymore, and he's not going to be the character of the Sacred Loki because he's going to be entirely new.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I will say, watching this, so for me, the biggest thing of this episode, more than Loki himself, was getting acquainted with the TVA and learning what the hell that is. I will say, I got really big, like Umbrella Academy vibes, like that the company thing, where there's that random when they would come out in the suits and whatever they would do. I got vibes of that, like mixed with Minority Report, for those like three people being the timekeepers, like that meshed together as TVA.
Yeah, I can see that. That's actually really good. Yeah, I didn't know where to place them other than just another government agency overstepping their bounds, but it totally made sense. In what they were tracking, which if you haven't seen the episode, spoilers, but we really don't care. If you're dumb enough to watch the video, then you've already messed up. But they're tracking another Loki from, I'm assuming, an entirely separate timeline, who is killing their own.
I'm not convinced it's another Loki. That little girl.
I'm convinced it's Lady Loki.
That little girl pointed at that picture, or the stained glass in that church thing, and you know who that looks like to me?
Mephisto.
Granted, both of our things of Loki in the backgrounds here have horns, which maybe that's kind of what she's doing. But it was red.
I assumed that's who it was.
It's Mephisto. Red. It's Mephisto.
Mephisto confirmed.
Finally in the MCU, Mephisto.
Yeah, but if they do it now and not before, then they're really fucked.
Right. And then to me, pretty obvious, like, well, not pretty obvious. It was painstakingly obvious. Multiverse was mentioned so many times in that little cartoon thing.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes.
Well, they're trying to set up Strange, and they're trying to set up WandaVision too.
So I'm questioning from how I took that little commercial thing. There was like multiverse, and there was multiple timelines, and they were all battling each other to be the timeline. And these timekeepers like shifted everything into one timeline. Does that mean they like?
Should they be arrested?
Well, like, is there not a multiverse currently because they pushed everything into one sacred timeline? And does Loki...
I think what they're referring to is that there is a sacred timeline that is agreed upon. That is like so like from like the DC universe, like Earth 1. Mm-hmm. There's still thousands or millions of other Earths, but there is only one Earth 1. But I think that's what they're making the point of.
But like, if they keep going on these variants to stop the variants from branching off, like the main timeline's still going to exist, but they're like nipping these branches from coming off, and that kind of made me think that they're trying to keep one timeline. And I was almost coming out of the thing wondering if Loki gets so involved that he kind of destroys a TVA, which allows there to be branches and kind of
that's kind of what I thought the show was going to be, is him
like create the multiverse,
destroying it from the inside, or not creating a multiverse, but creating at least his own version of a timeline where he is able to do what he wants,
right.
and they can't track him or something. I don't know.
Which to me, like in kind of in a backwards way, also opens the door for all of the multiverse stuff that we know is coming.
True, and it very well could be like a quite literal representation of that. So
something else,
maybe what he does at the end of the show is what opens it up for, Spider-Man or something.
Yeah. Something else that I thought of, which I'm sure it's just because we're people and we like people made the show, but
are you sure you're not a robot? Have you checked?
I haven't walked through a metal detector lately. Actually, I went through an airport recently.
Have you done a CAPTCHA thing where it says "I'm not a robot"? Has it made you do it 3 or 4 times? That could be a clue.
Oh crap! I've been pretty lucky with my guesses. But like every location that they show the TVA going to, and all of the people in the TVA that we see, is all on Earth and humans. And I thought that was interesting.
Pretty sure
there's a whole big galaxy, and I'm sure like this is like Nexus Earth in like the sacred timeline, but like for
racist and speciesist.
Yeah, like it's interesting that they seem to only be correcting variants on Earth that we've seen at least.
Right.
So we're like, are they doing anything with like the Kree or like however many other things exist out there, or is there like different branches? Because dude did say there's also a nightmare branch or division or whatever that he was going to help Loki burn down.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's just assume that the first 50 minutes of episode 1, which I swear to God, if the next episode is anything less than 50 minutes, I'm going to lose my shit. If they didn't get to all that, I'm hoping they at least dissect it down a little bit instead of making it all one big mystery, like they have been doing for some stupid.
They're going to keep things hanging that we'll figure out as we go. But
keep it hanging, but at least give us some sort of explanation so we know what to go off of.
Right.
It can't just be Kevin Feige as the TVA. He can't just make it up as he goes and then expect us to be able to follow.
Right.
Because like, okay, the only reason we know that the Avengers didn't get followed by the TVA is because in this episode they send one line where it was like, no, the Avengers were supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that ties up in a little bit.
I'm guessing that the reason that they went after Loki was because, like, they showed him getting killed by Thanos, is that for whatever reason the proper timeline is Thanos getting defeated in Endgame, and with Loki dipping out, he can't do that, and give him.
But they also said he can't go back.
Right, which is interesting, because like, why couldn't he just flash back?
But it also makes sense. It makes sense though, because if he did go back, he'd be a different person. Right. Unless they were able to, like,
but he could have
flashy thing like the Men in Black and put him back to where it was. Who the hell knows?
But had they not shown him the videos, he could have gone back not being really any wiser.
Right. But at the same time, he would still know of the TVA, and that's something. Any change to the timeline, including the initial escape, would make him a different enough person where the future might not happen like it was supposed to.
True.
I don't know.
I thought
that's a pretty significant change.
Speaking of timeline stuff, I thought it was an interesting random thing to throw in to make him DB Cooper.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Yeah, I like that.
And I mean, appropriate too, because that was never solved and nobody had any clue who the hell that was. So.
Yep. Well, now we know it was Loki.
Yeah. Well, clearly, yeah. I actually think that was all static footage of actual events. So.
Yeah. So I'm interested. So obviously, they have a variant of Loki that is doing this, or at least they said so.
Lady Loki.
And then they're obviously recruiting Loki to get involved with things.
Right.
One thing I did, it bothered me. I understand, but it bothered me when Loki said something about the approval or like seal of approval of the timekeepers, and Broken Nose Guy said it's not about approval or disapproval. I really wanted him to elaborate on that, but he then immediately shifted off of it. And I'm sure that's something that will get kind of answered later on. Like, as of right now, as of right now, we just kind of have 3 beings somewhere out there that are deciding what can or what's supposed to and what's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, which when you're saying that about it's not about approval or disapproval, I think it's literally just they decide. There's no we want to try and implement this because it was approved. It's
Right.
just they make the decision completely and totally. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I also think there might be some sort of weird twist where we find out that the three beings are like super normal people like on Earth, and it just so happens that they, unconsciously are making these decisions without knowing. How you have these weird thoughts in your head, like it could be something where someone's just thinking about something and randomly that changes the timeline.
I was kind of wondering if they're like, because it sounds like they're pretty old, being that whatever many years ago stuff happened. I was almost wondering if they're somehow tied into like the Celestials or something like that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
will come into play somehow with the Eternals movie.
Oh, could be. And then maybe it'll tie into Go a little bit from Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
So I think, well, obviously.
So three things we can confirm, though. Definitely Mephisto. Definitely Lady Loki. And 100% ties into Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So if you want to take 3 facts from this, put it all over the internet. Those are 3 things we are very sure of at this point.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, so far the shows have tied in well to the overall universe, but also haven't made an impact that really affects things in the future. That like the casual watcher with like the movie watchers don't need to see the shows to stay current, is what I've heard is happening.
Seeing Avengers 1 would be kind of good.
Yeah. But so I think this was I feel like there's not too much to actually talk about with this episode. It's kind of a lot of details of just learning the TVA, seeing a little bit of the things. Oh, I guess one thing we kind of haven't talked about is how the Infinity Stones are just garbage.
Well, I think that's just mainly because magic is not able to be used in that realm. But any also, magic, not just the Infinity Stones. Also, so if the Infinity Stones don't help create that universe, what does help create that universe? I don't know.
And that's kind of too, I was thinking, is like, where is a TVA or when is a TVA?
Yeah.
But one thing though, the hunters, when they did apprehend Loki, they picked up the Tesseract. And I can't remember, I know Infinity Stones, you're not supposed to be able to hold an Infinity Stone unless you're like a god, or like Space Lord was able to do it because of being Ego's kid or whatever.
But well, also, it's also my understanding that all of those people are beings made by the.
But then also the Tesseract had been on Earth and like handled by people, to where I think the cube part of it actually was kind of protecting the actual stone.
Oh yeah. Well, don't you remember in Guardians when he was able to handle the stone, but when it was only by itself is when it was crazy to the touch?
Yeah, like when it was in that little ball thing you're talking about, he was good.
Yeah. You could handle it then, but you couldn't handle it when it was bare.
Well,
but you also didn't get any powers from it until it was bare. So
in one of the Captain, like the first Avenger or whatever, the Captain America, I can't remember which one, but the Red Skull guy, I'm pretty sure he handled the Tesseract to make their little nuclear energy thing.
Oh, that very well could be. I'd have to go back and rewatch that one. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so a lot of, not too much happened in this episode, but a lot of info, and I think it's setting the stage for what's to come.
Right. So 4 points would be definitely Lady Loki, Mephisto, Owen Wilson. Clearly, this is gonna stem right into the Cars universe, so that's big. And then, I mean, fairly obvious, but thunder always comes after lightning.
Yep. Do we know how many episodes it's supposed to be?
I don't, and I don't want to know. It also better not be less than 50 minutes next week.
Just don't look at the clock. You've been let down so far. Captain Falcon Soldier, WandaVision, that clock has just not helped you.
Yeah, Captain America, the trilogy was very disappointing.
Yep. But finally we've got Marvel something back again, which this should when does Black Widow come out? Shouldn't it come out like right when this ends or something along those lines?
I think they're gonna overlap a little bit because I think it's at least 5 weeks. I'm pretty sure of this.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure that no matter what will be second or third week of July, and I know Black Widow's I think the 9th of July. So
right. Either way, I'm pretty sure we've got a lot of Marvel content coming.
Yes.
For like at least the rest of the year. So I'm stoked on that.
Even if the only next one I care about is Black Widow and Spider-Man, there is a significant amount of content that will be happening.
Yeah. And I'm sure like all the whatever else is coming, I'll like it to some extent. They've yet to fail me. So
well, I mean, Thor
Except
Dark World does exist, so
oh yeah, I forgot that existed. But Ragnarok made up for it.
Ragnarok did make up for it,
Yeah.
but just it does exist. So
now, by the way, special shout out for anyone who doesn't know, on Facebook, there is a Korg shitposting group, and you should definitely join it.
Right. Piss off, go.
Most important.
Yeah. We don't own it. We only are in it.
Yep.
And you should be.
Just been touched by its blessed grace of existence.
Also want to have a special shout out to our subscriber. He's a pretty good looking guy, and as of right now, he's our biggest support.
Yep.
So shout out to our number one and only subscriber.
Yeah.
We're hoping to double that within the next month.
Right. Our fan is who we do this for.
Right. I'm pretty thrilled.
All right. Well, that was
Ruse Reviews. Like, comment, subscribe, check out Tom's Turbo Garage on YouTube. Not affiliated.
We'll see you next sometime 3 days after Wednesday.
Or a month. We'll see.
But we'll probably keep posting because Loki's good.
Yeah, unless it sucks. Then a month.
I don't think it will. We at least got 2 episodes out of Bad Batch, so
well,
at least 3 out of this, I'd say.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Let's not make any promises. Bad Batch does suck though.
I'm hopeful. Ruse Reviews.
Good night.